Hey guys, it's Jordan with National Speed, and today we're answering two of the most common questions we get from our Trackhawk customers. One, what's the power difference between Stage 1 and Stage 2? And two, is using ethanol fuel worth it at pump gas safe boost levels? Now, if you follow the channel, then you probably know the way we go at these stage comparisons. To start, we perform a stock baseline dyno run to get our starting point for both horsepower and torque. This gives us a real-world foundation for comparison. Then we cover all the components included in each stage package, follow along in the shop as each gets installed, and then tune each back-to-back on the dyno. This allows you to see everything included in each stage package and how each package builds on the previous. But more importantly, this process clearly demonstrates exactly what you're getting at the rear wheels with each stage. So with that all said, let's get into it. Now, our subject for this test is Mason's 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. And for this project, we helped coordinate logistics to get his car from Texas to our shop here in North Carolina. And when Mason reached out initially, he was looking for a serious increase in performance without affecting reliability or daily drivability. And while he does plan on running E85 full time, he does want the option to run 93 octane if ever needed. And this is precisely what our Stage 2 package plus E85 delivers. And given that Mason's Trackhawk had a completely stock powertrain when it came to us, it's a perfect candidate for this test. So to get things kicked off, let's get her strapped down for some baseline dyno pulls. All right, our baseline comes in exactly as expected, laying down 612 wheel horsepower and 579 pound-feet of torque. And given that Trackhawks produce 707 horsepower at the engine, that means we're looking at a drivetrain loss of about 90 to 100 horsepower. With baselines wrapped up, we move on to getting the Stage 1 package installed in the shop. Now think of this package as the foundational modifications: high impact, low cost. JLT Performance 125mm air intake system, J&L air oil separator, ZPE GripTec 2.85-inch upper supercharger pulley, crankshaft pinning, the Gates HD Fleetrunner Green belt, properly gapped NGK LFR 7AIX spark plugs, our in-house PCM unlock with HP Tuners credits, HP Tuners Smart Access cable, and a custom calibration on the dyno to maximize power, drivability, and reliability. And while this package does deliver pretty wild performance as is, we do offer some options to take it up a notch. One, Injector Dynamics ID1050X fuel injectors. Now, while this package is compatible with stock fuel injectors, upgrading to the ID1050X ensures maximum performance in all seasons. And two, transmission tuning, which serves two key benefits. One, this optimizes shifts, which has a considerable impact on every performance metric. This includes 0 to 60, 60 to 130, and all drag racing performance. And two, this allows us to increase wide open throttle shift RPM, which translates to more horsepower before shifting. While this doesn't sound like it would have a huge impact, just wait to see what the dyno has to say. And since all Trackhawks are 2015 or newer, this means that the PCM has to be unlocked prior to tuning. Normally, this will require removing the PCM to send it out for unlocking and waiting a week or so for it to come back before work could be completed. But since we're able to perform these PCM unlocks in-house, this whole process only takes a couple of hours. This is a true game changer that allows us to get even a package like this completed in just a couple days start to finish. And with the PCM unlocked, Dylan moves on to the rest of the package. First, the ZPE GripTec 2.85-inch upper supercharger pulley with the Gates green belt and our crankshaft pinning. Crankshaft pinning is an important step that disallows the harmonic balancer from slipping on the crankshaft under increased load. This is pretty much the only weak link with Hellcat engines, and thankfully, it's easily addressed. Next, the properly gapped NGK spark plugs. Followed by the optional Injector Dynamics ID1050X fuel injectors. Then, the J&L air oil separator. all topped off with the JLT Performance air intake system. And back to the dyno to see what Stage 1 gives us. Obviously, crazy performance increase here. Output jumps to 740 wheel horsepower and 676 pound-feet of torque. Over stock, that's peak gains of 128 wheel horsepower and 98 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains of 124 pound-feet of torque. And this is all achieved with a boost level that's safe for 93 octane pump gas operation. Now, remember the transmission tuning we were talking about earlier? Check out the impact this extra 400 RPM has on peak output. Yep, this small increase is worth an extra 17 wheel horsepower. And that increases our peak gains over stock to 145 wheel horsepower. Pretty solid all around. With Stage 1 complete, she goes back to the shop for the Stage 2 additions. And one of the cool things about our stage packages is that each stage is designed to build on the previous. This means you can start off with Stage 1 and come back for the Stage 2 additions without having to change any of those parts you already paid for. And with Stage 1 serving as the foundational modifications, think of the Stage 2 additions as optimizing efficiency through improved airflow. So let's have a look at these Stage 2 additions. Kong Performance ported supercharger snout and bearing plate, port matched to the Nick Williams 108mm throttle body. This combination addresses all inlet restriction, allowing the rotor pack to breathe freely. And this translates to big power gains even at pump gas safe boost levels. And one thing to note is that we do keep core superchargers in stock to send out for porting in advance at no extra cost. This eliminates the downtime of shipping and the porting service itself and allows us to complete the project straight through. And of course, this is optional. We're happy to send off your existing supercharger for porting if that's your preferred route. In these cases, we just schedule around the downtime. Next, the Stainless Works mid-pipe. Now, we do offer long tube headers as an option, but from our testing, we found the factory Hellcat manifolds to perform remarkably well at this stage. But either way, this package includes the EPA-compliant G-Sport by Jesse ultra-high output catalytic converters. Not only do these keep emissions above board, but they flow incredibly well and take a beating. In fact, we've pushed these cores to over 1,000 wheel horsepower on 93 octane and even higher on the E85. Given that Mason's Trackhawk is already equipped with an exhaust system, this combination should sound pretty mean. Yep, that'll get it done. And for those who opt for the E85 additions, this package also includes two more key components. One, the JMS Fuel Max fuel pump voltage booster. This increases the factory fuel pump's output to meet the increased fuel flow demands of E85. And two, our custom ethanol content sensor setup. This allows you to read the ethanol content of your fuel right from your smartphone. This includes an OEM GM ethanol content sensor, the Radium Engineering split flow adapter, the Fuel-It Bluetooth Connect kit, and all the fittings and plumbing required for a high-quality installation. Now, one thing we did notice after receiving Mason's Trackhawk is that we had some light blue smoke on cold starts. After a full diagnostic before starting work, we found a couple of leaky valve seals. So while we had the supercharger removed for the upgrade, Dylan installed new OEM Mopar valve seals to get this issue resolved. Next, the Kong Performance rework supercharger gets set in place. This supercharger features a ported snout and bearing plate, and for maximum longevity, Mason also opted for a full supercharger race rebuild as well. Then, the JNL air oil separator and JLT Performance air intake system are reinstalled. Lastly, Dylan gets the supercharger coolant bled and checks over his work. Alright, let's see what the Stage 2 additions bring to the table. With 93 octane in the tank, the Stage 2 additions increase output to 801 wheel horsepower and 683 pound-feet of torque. Note that while this graph does display 811.05 wheel horsepower, that's sadly not real, just a blip at the end of the run. Instead, we're measuring horsepower with the cursor before the blip, which is a more realistic 801.01 wheel horsepower. That all said, over stock, that's peak gains of 189 wheel horsepower and 104 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains of 145 pound-feet of torque. And over stage 1, that's peak gains of 61 wheel horsepower, with maximum gains of 36 pound-feet of torque. And eagle-eyed viewers will notice that there are losses in both horsepower and torque down low in the power band, and this is accurate. And this can be attributed to the increased airflow with the supercharger bearing plate porting specifically. That said, as you can see, the gains in the operating power band more than make up for this. And in our experience, that more linear power band is useful for putting the power down, especially on the street. Now, with the 93 octane calibration complete, we drain the remaining gas out of the tank and fill up with the E85. And as a reminder, the only change we're making here is going from 93 octane to E85. No smaller supercharger pulley, no extra boost. That means that the boost level is 93 octane pump gas safe, and the benefit that we're going to see here is coming from the E85 fuel alone. So is E85 worth it even at a pump gas safe boost level? Yep, I'd say that shows up. Output increases to 859 wheel horsepower and 729 pound-feet of torque. Over stock, that's peak gains of 246 wheel horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains of 184 pound-feet of torque. And over stage 2 on 93 octane, that's peak gains of 58 wheel horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque. Now, it's worth noting that with this package, we do normally see 70 wheel horsepower and 60 pound-feet of torque increase over 93 octane. But by this point in the day, conditions sadly were not on our side, with dyno room temperatures exceeding 90 degrees. But still, obviously impressive gains nonetheless. All right, so we just covered a lot of data, so let's review real quick. Stage 1, Stage 1 Plus with the optional injectors and transmission tuning, Stage 2 on 93 octane, and Stage 2 on E85. Now, remember our previously documented drivetrain loss of 90 to 100 wheel horsepower? This means that Mason's Trackhawk is now producing almost 900 horsepower at the engine on normal 93 octane and 960 horsepower on E85. And with just a bit more boost, making over 1,000 horsepower at the engine on E85 with this same package is no problem at all. And if you're ready for this level of proven performance from your Mopar, we're ready to help you get there. No matter where you're located in the entire United States, we're here to make the entire process easy, transparent, and fun. Reach out today to learn more.